Thomas Jefferson and George Wythe founded this law school in 1779 for the express purpose of training citizen lawyers. And now, 234 years later, we have not departed from that central mission. We've gathered here today to celebrate a group of individuals who deserve our praise and recognition. And so, to that end, I would like to salute all of the mothers who are here today. You know, I used to think, we always hold graduation on Mother's Day, and I used to think this isn't a great day to hold graduation. It conflicts with Mother's Day, but it finally occurred to me this is the perfect day to celebrate commencement on Mother's Day because it's a great tribute to the mothers. Because I'll say this to the mothers, I don't think these students would be here without you, and that's certainly true of me. I would not be standing here today without my mother. One of our commencement speakers a few years ago gave one final piece of advice to the graduating students. In fact, I'm going to leave it with you today, and he said, I'm going to leave you with one thing, never forget to call your mother. Today is a great time of celebration as we salute the 216 members of the class of 2013 and 27 individuals who will also graduate with an LL.M. degree. So 27 LL.M. degree students and 216 JD students. We always begin our festivities with words from the outgoing president of the Student Bar Association. So Lee Tankel, you have been a particularly effective leader of the Student Bar Association. Please come forward and offer us your remarks.
Good afternoon, Chancellor Gates, Dean Douglas, members of the faculty, staff, administration, family, friends, guests, and of course you, the class of 2013. This is it, our law school graduation. When thinking about what I could say to you today, I was perplexed as to what advice, if any, a fellow graduate could offer to people in the exact same position as me. I sought guidance from many of you about what I should include in a speech. What did you want to hear? What type of message could I convey to the class of 2013? Many of you recommended that I simply give you a shout out. I discussed Borges' active presence on Twitter, or that I advise you to stay off the website above the law. Many of you also said I should not fall into the age-old trap of talking about how I was going to write the speech. Oh well. I ultimately concluded it's not my job to give you advice. That's the job of Chancellor Gates. However, I am in the unique position today of being the only speaker who can encapsulate what it has been like to be a member of the class of 2013. Depending on your outlook, law school either feels like it started yesterday or it has been an intense 3-year torturous slog. For me, and I gather for most of us, it has been a bit of both. Each individual day of classes, studying, and exam preparation always seemed to go by so slowly, but I would always be surprised that Friday, finals, and now graduation arrived so quickly. I still remember way back in August 2010 when we all gathered in the law school lobby to meet Dean Douglas, greet each other with the same questions of where are you from and where did you go for undergrad, and I'll never forget when we got these extremely fashionable baseball caps. I see a few people wearing them today. We all came from different backgrounds. Some of us had extensive work experience. We participated in college athletics. We were employed as Teach for America Corps members, and we served multiple tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. Some of us were married with children. Some of us had just graduated from college 3 months earlier. The idea of the Blue Book, outlines, site checks, and OCI were completely foreign concepts. For many of us, we did not know what the next 3 years would bring. But wow, did we do a lot over the past 3 years, both inside and outside the classroom. We spent many late nights in the Wolf Law Library learning the intricacies of tort and property law. We wrote legal skills memos about explosive fondue, dangerous fish-throwing hibachi chefs, and deadly peanut shells. We lived in fear of being cold called and getting the answer wrong. We traveled the country to participate in moot court, trial team, and ADR tournaments. Some of us were even recognized by the White House for our clinic work with military veterans. Others served as the saving grace of convicted felons through our Innocence Project clinic. We did get to know the Blue Book way too well. On one special day, we had the opportunity to be taught administrative law by Justice Antonin Scalia, but on every single day, we were able to be in the presence of a superb faculty. We helped raise thousands of dollars to register students as bone marrow donors and somehow talked our professors into engaging in a pie eating competition for the cause. We saw the return of the faculty-student basketball game, and we got to see Professor Jason Solomon cross me over. One of the low points of my law school career. Through our work with the Public Service Fund, we raised around $150,000 to provide our fellow students with stipends to perform unpaid summer public service jobs. Through organizations like the George Wythe Society in Boston, we spent thousands of hours volunteering in the Williamsburg community. We participated in a presidential election, and through the work of the Election Law Society, we were able to serve as poll watchers and then host nationally known speakers to analyze the results of that election. While we worked extremely hard over the past 3 years, we also had some pretty good times. How many karaoke songs did we sing at the Hospitality House? How many miles did we log driving back and forth from Williamsburg to Snowshoe, West Virginia? And how many hours did we spend at the Jamestown Beach? In our adventure, we managed to eat quite a bit while we were here in Williamsburg as well. We probably provided at least $500,000 in revenue to Wawa, mainly between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. And think about how many thousands of slices of pizza our class consumed during lunchtime events, how many gallons of cheese shop house dressing we've ingested, and how many platters of loaded cheese fries were microwaved for us at Paul's. And now here we are, 3 years later. Just take a second and think about how much more you know about the world of law than you did as a wide-eyed 1L. We leave this institution with a world-class practical and useful legal education. We leave with a network of lifelong friends, classmates, and professors who will be able to serve as professional contacts for the rest of our lives. By my count, at least 8 of us will be leaving with a new fiance or spouse met in law school. Most importantly, the shared experiences we have had over the past 3 years make us permanent members of the William and Mary Law School community. As a part of this community, we are not just numbers. We've had the privilege of attending a school where if we don't know everybody's name, we at least know everybody's face, where our professors genuinely care about us and our interests both inside and outside the classroom. We are part of a community of students who will literally do anything for each other. We are the type of people you want to be in the library with at 2 a.m. We are the people who will send you class notes when you're sick. We're the people you want to grab a beer with after a rough constitutional law exam, and we're the people you want to spend a week with in the Outer Banks. And these connections and relationships don't end today. I know I promised I wouldn't give any advice, but if I can implore you to do just one thing, it is this: stay connected. Be sure to keep in contact with your classmates. It's just a matter of time before we are in positions of power where we can recommend each other for jobs, serve on boards together, and perhaps even face off against each other in a courtroom. Our law school has given us a solid foundation and provided us with the moral compass of what a lawyer should be. We are ready to go out in the world and make a difference. By becoming attorneys, we are entering a noble profession. As lawyers, we have the skills to help a business owner facing bankruptcy, a family falling apart due to divorce, or a criminal defendant whose very liberty is at stake. People will come to us when they are facing some of life's most difficult challenges, and as attorneys, we have the power to change people's lives. Being a lawyer is an honor and a privilege. Law school has taught us how to learn and how to think, but our legal education does not end today. We've all worked very hard over the past 3 years to reach this day, but this is just the beginning. Congratulations.
Thank you, Lee. That was terrific. Is that my fault? Might be my fault. I think it's my fault. Each year, the graduating class expresses its support for our law school through a class gift fundraising effort for the purpose of enhancing the educational experience for future generations of William and Mary Law students. I'm proud to report that this year, the class of 2013 had a higher percentage of students participating in the class gift effort than any class in recent years. To the class of 13, your support for the class gift effort and for future generations of students here at this law school is heartwarming, and we very much appreciate it. 3 members of your class, Lee Tankel, Gabe Walker, and Kate Ward led this effort. And I'm going to ask the three of them to come up here for just a minute and say a few words. Lee, Kate, and Gabe.
We actually didn't know we were saying any words until about 10 minutes ago, so bear with us. You want to go first?
So, no seriousness. Thanks to the tremendous generosity of you all, our classmates, our parents, and also our faculty. This year, we were able to successfully raise over $25,000, which will be contributed towards this year's 3.0 class gift.
And Dean Douglas kind of stole my thunder, but we did have a 59% participation rate, which is the highest it's been in all 4 years, or the last 4 years. So thank you guys so much for all of your help with that, and I apologize for hassling a good deal of you repeatedly. And hopefully we can come back next year and their class will actually get Dean Douglas to shave off his mustache, because I'm disappointed that he still has it today. But thank you guys so much for all your help.
Thank you, guys, and thank all of you. And yes, it is true, my mustache is safe, but I think just for one more year. We now come to the presentation of awards. Now, yesterday, many of the law school awards were conveyed to differing graduating students, but we save a few for today. We begin with the Citizen Lawyer Awards, given by the Law School's Alumni Association each year to 2 graduates of the law school who have demonstrated by their lives outstanding citizenship and leadership. Of course, the original and current mission of this law school is primarily to train educated citizen lawyers, people who will be not only skilled practitioners of the law, but who will use their legal gifts for the greater good. This year's recipients, as is always the case, were nominated by their peers and then chosen by the Law School Alumni Association. We convey 2 Citizen Lawyer Awards. The first is the Taylor Reevely Award, named for a former dean of the law school and now president of the College of William & Mary. This award is conveyed on an alum who has graduated within the last 10 years. The second award is the Citizen Lawyer Award, conferred on a graduate from any graduating class. We begin with the Taylor Reevely Award. This year's winner is Chris Ray, a member of the class of 2010. Chris, if you'll come forward, I'm going to say some words about you, but if you'll start making your way up here. Chris was born in the Virgin Islands. He moved at the age of 9 to North Carolina with his grandmother. He was an All-American track star in high school and went to East Carolina University on a track scholarship. His engagement with the larger community began during his college years as Chris founded the first campus NAACP chapter at East Carolina. His senior year in college, Chris enlisted in the United States Army, where he served for 7 years, including tours of duty in both Iraq and Afghanistan, for which he received the Bronze Star. Chris rose to the rank of captain, eventually serving as commander of the 3rd Special Forces Signal Department. Following this military service, Chris came to law school, where he was active in our Student Bar Association, but he was also very active in electoral politics, working as a volunteer on congressional campaigns. While a law student, Chris also served as a member of the Electoral College, representing Virginia's 1st congressional district that elected Barack Obama President of the United States in 2008. Chris, as it turns out, was the first presidential elector, African-American presidential elector in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Following graduation from law school, Chris returned home to Spring Lake, North Carolina, where within a year he ran for mayor, challenging a longtime incumbent. Chris's campaign caught fire. Legendary Congressman John Lewis of Atlanta came to Spring Lake to campaign for Chris. Now, John Lewis receives hundreds of requests to campaign for candidates across the country every year. Why did he go to this little mayoral race in North Carolina? Well, John Lewis explained. He said, "I saw something in Chris Ray as a young leader. He had this unbelievable sense of hope and optimism and can-do attitude, and so I wanted to campaign for him." Chris defeated the incumbent mayor, capturing 76% of the vote, and he continues to serve as mayor of Spring Lake, North Carolina. He also runs a consulting firm that counsels nonprofit organizations and small businesses. Chris, it is our great privilege to confer upon you the Taylor Reevely Award of 2013. Now we turn to the Citizen Lawyer Award, which is conveyed each year to one of our graduates who graduated from any graduating class, not just the first 10 years. This year's winner is Judy Conti from the class of 1994. Judy, if you'll come forward. Judy came to William & Mary in 1991, having graduated from Williams College. As a law student, she was a member of the William & Mary Law Review, one of the founders of the William & Mary Journal of Women in the Law. For those of you who worked on that journal, here's one of your founders. She was also president of the Women's Law Student Association. Upon completing her JD, she clerked on the United States Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit and practiced law in Washington, D.C. Now, in 2000, this is 6 years after Judy graduated from William & Mary Law School, she co-founded what has become a very influential nonprofit organization in Washington, D.C. called the Employment Justice Center. The Employment Justice Center provides free legal advice to low-wage workers in Washington. In its 13-year tenure, it has assisted about 10,000 low-wage workers with their legal claims and has recovered more than $6 million in back pay for these clients. In the process, the Employment Justice Center has received the support of so many members of the practicing bar in Washington, D.C., who assist on a volunteer basis. Again, this extraordinary organization, and this is why I wanted Judy here today, was founded when she graduated just 6 years after her graduation here at William & Mary. Judy is now the Federal Advocacy Coordinator for the National Employment Law Project. She's a frequent commentator on national issues pertaining to labor and employment law. You'll see her a lot on PBS News, and she's terrific. Judy has also been an adjunct professor at the law school, teaching labor law. She's been a member of our Alumni Association Board, and she's a member of our law school committee that is our loan repayment committee that provides loan forgiveness for students who go into public interest law. And I'll have to, as a final word, personal note, Judy was a student of mine. We arrived at William & Mary about the same year, 22, 23 years ago. And Judy, it gives me great personal pleasure to convey this award on you. I think we get a photo off here. Oh, we'll get one right here. Okay. We'll get one over here. Good. The core of any good law school is its faculty. William & Mary is blessed with a faculty who excel both as teachers and scholars. We've had a few of our faculty reach landmarks this year in terms of their tenure here at the law school, and I'd like to recognize them. 3 members of the faculty have just completed their 25th year with us. And I don't think they're all here today, but I'd like those who are here to stand: Susan Grover, Jim Heller, and Linda Malone. I know Linda Malone is a visiting professor in China right now. That's why she's not here. And that student faculty basketball game took Jim Heller out, I'm afraid. We also say goodbye this year to Trotter Hardy, who retires after 31 years on the faculty. Professor Hardy, we salute you for your long service to the law school, and we wish you well in retirement. See here? Each year, the third-year class identifies a professor whose teaching they particularly admire. The faculty receives the Walter L. Williams Memorial Teaching Award, named for a beloved former teacher at the law school. Jillian Jacobs will present the 2013 award.
A little shorter, so I have to pull this down. I frequently heard professors remark that they can quickly tell whether a student is engaged and loves learning. I think it is also true that students can immediately determine whether a professor is engaged and loves teaching. I was lucky enough to have Professor Larson as my constitutional law professor during my first year at William & Mary. And I could immediately tell that she would be one of those special professors. Professor Larson enthusiastically taught every class. She made complex subjects seem interesting and easy to understand. Students in my class often commented on her passion for the law and for teaching her students. As Professor Larson's teaching assistant during my second and third years of law school, I heard the same comments from her current students. I truly believe that Professor Larson has earned her reputation of being a wonderful professor. She is friendly, caring, brilliant, and funny. It is rare to find all of those qualities in one person, and I feel so lucky to have been able to meet and to learn from Professor Larson. Professor Larson is currently out of the country and therefore is unable to attend graduation today. She accepted her award 2 weeks ago, and she asked me to read a brief statement from her, so I'll read that now. She said, "Thank you so much for honoring me with this award. The class of 2013 will forever remain special to me because we all started together in the fall of 2010. New to Williamsburg, eager to learn, ready to be a part of this fantastic institution, and petrified that people could tell how nervous we were. Teaching you these past 3 years has been my joy, and I look forward to watching you all shine in this profession for many years to come. Congratulations to you all. I miss you already."
I can tell you Professor Larson was very excited, especially since she began her law school career with you. Each year, the law school faculty selects the recipient of the Lawrence I. Anson Award, presented to a member of the graduating class who shows the greatest professional promise in the view of the faculty. The award is named for Lawrence I. Anson, the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Virginia, and it is the faculty's highest honor that it conveys on a student. The class of 2013 is an extraordinarily strong group. Many members of your class have already achieved so much, but the faculty has made its decision, and this year proudly presents the I. Anson Award to Vlada Soskina. And Vlada, if you'll come up. While Vlada steps forward, I'd like to tell you a little bit about her. Vlada was born in the Ukraine. She came to the United States with her family during her childhood, settling in Brooklyn. She graduated summa cum laude from New York University and won a prize for writing the best honors thesis in the NYU politics department. She compiled an extraordinary record of achievement here at William & Mary Law School. She graduates number 2 in a tie for number 2 in her class. She received an honors grade in all 4 semesters of legal skills. She served as a note editor on the William & Mary Law Review, and her student note was published in volume 54 of the Law Review. That note was also awarded 3rd place in a national legal writing competition in securities law. She's been widely engaged in the life of the law school. She served as a teaching assistant in torts and in legal writing. She served as lead recruitment counsel for the trial team and as co-president her 2nd year of the Election Law Society and as chief of staff of the Student Bar Association. After graduation, Vlada will join the New York City office of Weil Gotshal. Vlada, we salute you for your amazing law school success, and we look forward to seeing all that you achieve in life. We now convey 2 awards to students recognizing outstanding service, but before I do, many of you were not at the main ceremony earlier today, and there's a special service award given at the college that was given this year to 2 students from all across the college, one of whom was a law student. It's the Sullivan Award, and it recognizes outstanding service. And I'd like this particular person to stand, if he will, Kevin Barrett. Kevin received his award from President Reevely a few hours ago in recognition, in particular, his strong work with the Veterans Benefits Clinic. The George Wythe Award is given each year to the student who has demonstrated outstanding and selfless service to the law school community. As most of you know, George Wythe was, of course, one of the most distinguished lawyers and law professors in early America. He was our first law professor, and as such, is a very appropriate person for whom to honor with the George Wythe Award. The students nominate their peers for this award, and the Dean's Office makes a selection. This year's George Wythe Award for Outstanding Service to the Law School goes to Lee Tankel. Lee, if you'll come back up. Let me just say a few words about Lee as he makes his way forward. He, of course, did serve as president of the Student Bar Association and was a particularly effective leader. The SBA did a terrific job this year. His leadership is widely recognized and appreciated both by the administration and by his fellow students. I'm going to read what a couple of his fellow student nominators said of Lee. One said, "Lee has dedicated himself completely to the law school over the last 3 years. He is involved in every event and every function and is always willing to help any member of the community. No one has done more for this law school than Lee Tankel." Another person wrote, "Lee has character. He has been a great leader, and he selflessly works on behalf of all the students." And finally, a third, "Lee has tirelessly worked to change our law school for the better. He constantly puts his Student Bar Association duties first. I found it impressive that he never asked for any recognition. He served his law school because he truly loves it." Lee, please accept our deepest appreciation for your service. The Thurgood Marshall Award, given annually by the William & Mary Law School Association, goes to a member of our community with a powerful ethic of service outside of the law school community as well as inside the law school community. Although many students have demonstrated such a strong commitment to service who are members of the graduating class of 2013, Among her peer nominators, one student stood out. Diana Cooper, would you please come forward? And let me say a word about Diana as she comes forward. She's engaged in an array of service to the community during her 3 years here at William & Mary. She's been a leader in our much acclaimed Veterans Benefits Clinic. She also served as president of the Black Law Students Association, leading that organization in an incredibly broad array of service projects this year, including the incredibly successful, great tradition Thanksgiving Basket. Not only has our BALSA chapter been one of, if not the most engaged service organizations at the law school, our law school BALSA chapter is recognized nationally as one of the great chapters in the United States. Diana, it gives me great pleasure to present you with the Thurgood Marshall Award this year. Finally, we come to the John Marshall Award. This award, named for the law school's most eminent former student, the great Chief Justice John Marshall, is given each year to a faculty or staff member who has demonstrated character, leadership, and a spirit of selfless service to the law school community. We have two winners this year, and I'm going to ask both of them to step forward. Professor Susan Grover and Professor Trotter Hardy. First, let me say a word about Professor Susan Grover. So many of the members of the class of 2013 who nominated her for this award spoke in such glowing terms about her impact on their lives, and I'd like to read a couple of the comments that came from nominators. One of you said, "Professor Grover is truly one of a kind and always putting the students first. She came to see me when I was in the hospital when I was sick, and offered to bring me food when I returned home. She truly, truly cares about each and every member of the law school's community's well-being." Another student wrote, "Professor Grover embodies all of the qualities of the John Marshall Award. She is compassionate. She is brilliant. She continually reminds students that we are, in her words, part of a community that cares. When she sees students struggling, whether academically or emotionally, she does not always wait for them to come through her door, though her door is always open. But she seeks them out to make sure that they know that resources are there to help them, that she cares. She is humble, generous with her time, and quite possibly the best listener that I have ever encountered." Not surprisingly, the College of William & Mary's Faculty Assembly recently elected Professor Grover President-elect of the Faculty Assembly, so she will continue to provide service not just to the law school, but to the college as a whole in the coming years. Next, Professor Trotter Hardy. As mentioned earlier, Professor Hardy retires this year after 31 years on the faculty. I don't know that I have ever seen in my 23 years here at the law school more of an outpouring of affection from the faculty for another faculty member at the point of their retirement, as we have seen this year with Professor Hardy. Trotter, you are truly beloved by your faculty colleagues. Professor Hardy has had a major impact on the lives of so many students during his 31 years. As a particularly skilled teacher of legal writing, so many students from his first 10 years that I've met over the years tell me they are a good writer today because of Trotter Hardy. As our first intellectual property professor, and as an exceptionally good classroom teacher. He is also someone who was graced with a marvelous sense of humor. And his ability Trotter's ability to diffuse any situation with humor has come in handy in a lot of faculty meetings for the last 30 years. He has served for more than a decade as the law school's dean for technology and helped the faculty capture the benefits of technology in our teaching. As one graduating student who nominated Professor Hardy for this award wrote, "Beyond his excellent classroom teaching, Professor Hardy has provided tremendous service to the law school as the Dean of Technology. He always reaches out to students for their feedback whenever technology changes are made. Best of all, he's just an all-around great guy." Congratulations, Professor Grover and Professor Hardy. Finally, it is our tradition to recognize the student who finished law school with the highest grade point average in the graduating class. We often have a tie. This year we did not. It is my pleasure to ask the valedictorian of the class of 2013 to stand and be recognized, Alex Horning. Now, yesterday I met Alex's little brother, and I'm assuming you're somewhere in your audience. Your brother's good. You asked me that, and I'm telling you he is. You learned that just now. It is now my great honor to introduce our commencement speaker. Let me say at the outset that the tradition of William & Mary Law School, in terms of our law school commencement speakers, is that the choice is made by the students. And this year they have made a brilliant choice. The Chancellor of the College of William & Mary, Robert Gates. Chancellor Gates graduated from the College of William & Mary in 1965 and has truly lived a life of dedication to public service. One of the favorite things I've heard Chancellor Gates tell me about his time at William & Mary is that one of his central activities is he was a school bus driver, driving students to school for each of his last 3 years, and has said it was, especially driving those high school students, is that, now you want to talk about challenging work, is driving high school students to school. He began his career in public service soon after his graduation from William & Mary. In 1966, he joined the Central Intelligence Agency, working for 6 presidents during nearly 27 years as an intelligence officer. In fact, Chancellor Gates is the only career officer in the history of the Central Intelligence Agency to rise from entry-level employee to become the agency's director. Prior to becoming director of Central Intelligence in 1991, he served as Deputy National Security Advisor for the first President Bush. Chancellor Gates is no stranger to higher education. He served for a number of years as the president of Texas A&M University. He told me a few minutes ago the tradition at Texas A&M University is every graduate shakes the hand of the president at commencement. Now, Texas A&M, in case you don't know this, is a pretty big university. He estimates he has shaken the hand of more than 50,000 graduating students. He does not need to do that today. Chancellor Gates in 2006 took office as our nation's 22nd Secretary of Defense under President George W. Bush. And then later, he was continued in that position by President Barack Obama, who asked Chancellor Gates to continue as Secretary of Defense, and thereby Secretary Gates became the first Secretary of Defense in our country's history to serve in that role under presidents of 2 different political parties. A tribute to the remarkable esteem that he enjoys across the political spectrum. And then when Chancellor Gates retired as Secretary of the Defense in 2011, President Obama awarded him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, our country's highest civilian honor. Just last year, Chancellor Gates was named the 24th Chancellor of the College, by the College of William & Mary Board of Visitors, following in the footsteps of prior chancellors of this college, including George Washington, Margaret Thatcher, and Sandra Day O'Connor. In his own words, Chancellor Gates' time here at William & Mary as a student instilled in him, quote, a call to serve, a sense of duty to community and country that this college has sought to instill in each generation of students for more than 300 years. Chancellor Gates, you are an inspiration to all of us, and it is our great pleasure to invite you to address the law school class of 2013.
Thank you, Dean Douglas, for that kind introduction and for your exemplary leadership of the law school these past 4 years. I'm deeply honored to be invited to speak here today. I'll return the favor by not going on too long. Having presided over more than 40 commencement ceremonies at Texas A&M and more recently William & Mary, I can attest to the value of brevity at times like this. I'm reminded of the British nobleman Lord Burkitt, who was once known for being particularly long-winded. He once said, "I don't object to people looking at their watches when I'm speaking, but I do strongly object when they start shaking them to make sure they're still going." I promise your smartphones will still have a charge when I finish. To the law school class of 2013, congratulations on this achievement. You've completed a grueling curriculum that included, among other things, a substantial research and writing requirement. I know from experience that this hurdle to graduation can be particularly onerous. About 40 years ago, I had just about finished my dissertation for a PhD in Russian and Soviet studies, or so I thought. My advisor called me in and told me that the dissertation was just fine. There were no substantive problems. It just needed to be 100 pages longer. So I had to go back and pump the draft with another 20,000 words, what I will politely call filler. And this was back in the days of typewriters, index cards, and carbon paper. I hope the time and effort expended on your research paper or note was put to more productive use. I approached today's remarks with some trepidation, noting that it's somewhat unusual to have a non-attorney as graduation speaker at a law school. During my years in the Obama administration, I felt like I was the only non-lawyer in government. As Secretary of Defense, between the Pentagon and the military services, I had something like 10,000 lawyers working for me. That's the equivalent of 2 Army combat brigades. The jury is still out, if you'll forgive the expression, over which group is more dangerous when provoked. Typically, at this point in a commencement speech, I thank the parents for their support while also warning that the bank of mom and dad will probably stay open for a while, so best not to go out and buy the speedboat quite yet. But I don't see much need for such a warning with this group. You are William & Mary attorneys, after all. You're graduates not only of one of the country's premier law schools, but of an institution that has put special emphasis on generating practice-ready lawyers, more able to hit the ground running in your first job. It's thus no surprise that applications to William & Mary are going up, while applications to American law schools in general have plunged sharply in recent years. We all know the legal education and professional training here are first-rate. What makes attending William & Mary truly special, in my view, is the opportunity to be part of an institution rooted in the earliest history and fundamental governing principles of the United States. It is fitting that a college known as alma mater of a nation not only established America's first law school, but also produced our first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. In recent history, my predecessors as Chancellor have included not one, but 2 Supreme Court justices. The intersection of law, liberty, and history defines the William & Mary experience. Indeed, so much of what defines America first took root here in this corner of Virginia. Here's where the New World's first representative assembly gathered, the institutional expression of the concept that people should have a say in how they're governed. And having that say brought with it certain obligations, a duty to participate, a duty to contribute, a duty to serve the greater good. It is impossible to be a student here and not feel the weight of that history. I certainly did as an undergraduate walking these grounds some 50 years ago. And I hope that you, as I did then, feel the weight of that responsibility as well. In your studies here and in the political discourse more broadly, you have studied and heard a good deal about the rights, statutory, constitutional, and otherwise, that come with being an American citizen. We hear a good deal less about the duties and responsibilities that come with citizenship, which I'd like to spend a couple of minutes addressing today. To be sure, there's no shortage of public-mindedness in this school. William & Mary's 9 law clinics provide more than 14,000 hours of volunteer legal work on behalf of underserved groups, including the elderly, children with special needs, victims of domestic violence, and wrongly convicted prisoners. As a former defense secretary, I continue to be concerned about the well-being of the tens of thousands of military personnel injured or traumatized in Iraq and Afghanistan, many of them because of deployment orders I signed. So I'm especially proud that William & Mary is home of the Puller Law Clinic, which has become a nationally recognized model for how to reduce the massive backlog in disability claims at the Department of Veterans Affairs. No doubt many of this class, whether your personal persuasion leans toward the Federalist Society or the ACLU, will continue to devote unpaid time and effort to causes you believe in, whether through pro bono or volunteer work. But I hope you will take things one step further and consider devoting at least a part of your professional life to full-time public service. I entered government 47 years ago, and no one is more familiar with the hassles, frustrations, and sacrifices than I am. Being head of CIA means some interesting public commentary, such as the time that wanted posters with my face showed up on an East Coast campus. I acquired one of those posters, and it's a treasured part of my collection. It's a reminder that a measure of skepticism and irreverence about government officials and organizations is always healthy, indeed necessary. Along with constitutional checks and balances, a gimlet eye toward those in authority helps curb overweening power and overweening egos. And in Washington, D.C., there's certainly no shortage of either. America's system of government, conceived in no small part by graduates of this institution, is by design slow and unwieldy. Our Constitution is framed to protect liberty, not promote efficiency. And frankly, the legal profession has certainly done its part to introduce layers of process and regulation. These and other sources of delay can drive one to distraction when trying to get something done in the executive branch. While irreverence informed by healthy skepticism is essential to democracy, cynicism about the people and institutions that govern and protect our country can be corrosive. Too often, those who choose to serve in government are dismissed as bureaucrats or worse. In many cases, politicians run for office demeaning the very government and the very people they hope to lead. Justice O'Connor has spoken eloquently on the political and personal attacks leveled increasingly at members of the judiciary, putting their independence and, in some cases, their safety at risk. In the eyes of many successful private citizens, the burdens of public service have grown too onerous. In the legal profession, that can include being attacked for the people they may have represented or defended. Public life can seem too mean, too ugly, too risky, too dangerous, and too frustrating. I have a different view, a view informed by my own experience working for 8 presidents and leading countless dedicated professionals at CIA, the National Security Council, and the Department of Defense. I believe public service is a necessary and honorable calling, and contrary to the perceptions of many, a fulfilling and satisfying opportunity. I think of the thousands of U.S. military attorneys with professional educations that could earn them far greater financial reward elsewhere, who have deployed to war zones and put themselves at risk. And it is noteworthy that the most dogged and successful legal advocates for detained terrorist suspects after 9/11, on matters ranging from interrogation practices to due process, have not come from NGOs or white shoe law firms, but from the uniformed ranks of the Judge Advocate General Corps, often at risk to their own careers. I suspect that in an unguarded moment, most public servants, no matter how outwardly tough or jaded, will acknowledge that they are, in their heart of hearts, romantics and idealists and optimists. We actually believe we can make a difference, that we can change the lives of others for the better, that we can make a positive difference in the life of our country and of the world. Abigail Adams wrote her son, John Quincy Adams, "These are the times in which a genius would wish to live. It is not in the still calm of life or the repose of a Pacific station that great characters are formed. Great necessities call out great virtues." We live in a time of great necessities. As individuals, the burdens and responsibilities of citizenship in a democracy are permanent. And as a nation, we cannot escape the long-term burdens, responsibilities, and costs of global citizenship and global leadership. The implications for your generation are, I think, best captured by the words of Abigail Adams' husband, John Adams, who in a letter to another son wrote, "The public business, my son, must always be done by somebody. It will be done by somebody or another. If wise men decline it, others will not. If honest men refuse it, others will not. Preparedness to serve, devotion to community and fellow citizens, caring beyond self, these are fundamental to democracy. Our forebears who walked these grounds more than 2 centuries ago understood this when they risked their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. But it is a lesson that must be refreshed in every generation by the best and brightest young Americans. It is a lesson that must be refreshed by the wise and honest among you. Congratulations and Godspeed.
Thank you, Chancellor Gates, for those inspiring words. And I should tell you that in the class of 2013, as is always the case, several members will be going on to become JAG officers after they graduate from the College of William & Mary Law School. We now turn to the main event, the presentation of diplomas. We will begin with our LL.M. students, presenting their diplomas first, and then the JD students. More than 20 years ago, our law school established an LL.M. degree in the American legal system for foreign lawyers. We did so because the College of William & Mary is a university that has always turned its eyes to the larger world, still in all of our students, a global consciousness. Our law schools graduates, JD and LL.M. work in more than 40 countries around the world, on every continent except Antarctica. We're working on Antarctica. Our LL.M. students come from across the world. They come from the following countries: Afghanistan, China, Great Britain, India, Jamaica, and Nigeria. Once they have received their degrees, we will turn to the JD students who come from all over the United States and other parts of the world as well to come across the stage to receive their degrees. Now, you may be wondering, parents and friends, what are the terms of engagement here? What can you do while this process is going on when your family member or friend crosses the stage? The answer is simple. Within reason, you can do whatever you want to do. Anything from reverential silence to gasp of relief to boisterous applause is acceptable. This is a dignified occasion, this commencement ceremony, but it is also a day of appropriate celebration. So let us begin.
Ian Chen. Chen Yanling Chu. Li Dai. Hua Dong. Ting Gong. Yeting Guo. Yifan Huang. Lin Liu. Jingwen Luo. Shan Luo. Xiaojing Chu. Gurtej Singh Santu. Benedict Gerard Stefanelli. Queen Kanu Ufia. Haishi Wang. Jia Wang. Yan Yan. Han Zhang. Yujian Zhang. Yunnan Zhang. Guanan Zhao. Si Zhao. Xiaoyang Zhao. And Sujing Zhu. Congratulations, class of 2013.
I am proud to recognize the recipients of the Juris Doctor for the class of 2013. James Richard Adam. John Robinson Alford, Jr. Colin Atkins. Sarah Caitlin Avilas. Cedric Bailey. Laura Elizabeth Bain. Diana Laura Ballin. Kevin Norman Barrett. Dwayne Ulysses Bars, Jr. Daniel Joseph Bell. Sincere D. Belton. Emily Marie Benz. Patrick Charles Berry. Jeffrey Bingham. Anna Tilly Birkenhire. Kelsey Block. Andrea Bowden. Daniel Robert Borchert II. Michael Scott Boyer. Matthew V. Bradshaw. James Michael Brazes. Theodore Webb Briscoe III. Emily Gordine Brown. Trisha Lynn Brown. Spencer Atlas Bryson. Thomas Payne Burnham. Caitlin Elizabeth Bussman. Mary Elizabeth Button. Eric Michael Charity. Graham Michael Chilton. Thomas Stephen Klebeck. Obiajulu Chibuaze Chukwu. Hope Alexandra Place Coppage Cobb. Emily Kate Cohen. Renee Colvin. Alexander Paul Conser. Baker Alexander Kuhn. Diana Ju-Young Cooper. Kathleen Rose Cornelson. Kevin Thomas Costantino. Megan Marina Coles. Christopher Jordan Crenshaw. Alex Ryan Custon. Brian James Daly. Matthew Ryan Diatley. Jessica Louise Delaney. Dennis Anthony DeMarco. Jennifer Terrell Dilworth. Ina Eden Marie Dion. Laura Catherine Dorr. Daniel Ethan Doty. Brendan Patrick Doherty. Devaney Ann Dufour. Elizabeth Lee Epps. Wesley Jordan Evans. Tiffany Marie Westfall Ferris. Lauren Feibel. John Alexander Fisher. William Bryce Fisk. Lauren Ashley Ford. Melanie Francoise Fradette. Nicholas A. Frederick. Thomas Arthur Garnett. Zachary Andrew Jeanette. Lauren Elizabeth Gill. Lindsay Janine Gill. Rachel Gillen. Anna Grace Gillespie. Brian U. Jividan. Gary Dean Godman. Marissa Nicole Goldberg. James Walker Gorsuch. Andrea Dawn Gregory. Nate Grays. James Edward Gross. Jennifer Louise Giuliano. Travis Corey Gunn. Naomi Miyako Harrelson. Kristen Elizabeth Harsha. Taylor Hastings. Candace Taylor Hedden. Ashley Joy Heilprin. Brett Charles Herbert. Sarah Marie Hilbert. Maxwell Charles Lavin. John Boyd Hoke. Chase Orion Holcomb. Alexander Bon Horning. Laura Elizabeth Held. Zachary Philip Hunt. Kimberly Michelle Hunter Roberts. Casey Elizabeth Inman. Jules Carter Irvin Rooney. Janeni Iyengar. Charles Horatio Jackson IV. Jillian Marie Jacobs. Danielle Nicole Jarvis. Megan Frances Jesse. Aaron Levi Jones. Thomas Mark Jornstad. Kevin R. Jewell. Zachary David Youngers. Brian George Kelly. Anna Michelle Killius. Jensen Patricia Kim. Kansas Lindsay Karatki. Matthew Lane Kreitzer. Kelsey Nicole Kramer. Peter Henderson Kyle. Jessica Ashley Lane. Gordon Michael Larson. Carrie Bryden Lasala. Marion Ainley Levy. Dominic Rocco Littman. William Zachary Loudon. Amanda Christine Louther. Jacob Max Lubkin. Dustin Joseph Lujan. Lindsay Mayer Lujan. Oriana Farley Madeira. Justin James Moramus. Ryan Patrick Malone. Bonnie Marie Mangold. J. Reed Mangold Jr. Jaleese Elizabeth Mangum. Samuel Griffin Mann. Stephanie Ann Marks. Barbara June Marmot. Dorothy Ann Martucci. Andrew David McCoy. Adam Skeen McGonigal. Timothy Michael McNamara. Sarah Elizabeth Melchior. Megan Elizabeth Mitchell. Justin William Moore. Victoria Wolf Moore. Patricia Joy Mccoskey. Danny Ruchaki. Dina Catherine Mueller. Nicholas James Murgalo. Paige Susan Nestel. Peter Cephas Newman. Colleen Marie Nichols. Eldridge Austin Nichols Jr. Alexander Douglas Odell. Stephen Max Erline. W&M Osborne. Pamela Eunice Palmer. Rakesh Jagat Parikh. Sonia Patel. Abigail Lee Paulus. James Phillips Farley. Alexandria Aline Poole. Jesse Daniel Pound. Rachel Lynn Procopio. Rachel Tuma Provencher. Anna Elizabeth Pulliam. Jason Matthew Reyes. Lauren Provo Reyes. Daniel Seth Reeves. Sean Robert Renahan. Shanna Marie Rulbach. Justin Thomas Rudy. Travis Paul Roberts. Bailey Rose. Alexa Rose Rogerham. Matthew Robert Roman. Lily Anise Sapper. Mary Carson Brewer Saunders. Reed Charles Schweitzer. Sarah Beth Super. Mia Shirley. Christopher Allen Sickles. Brooke Davis Simons. Gregory Ross Singer. Nicholas Samuel Singer. Patrick Slobodic. Julie Christine Smith. Meredith Bryant Snow. Anissa Samani. Vladislava Soshkina. Vanessa Elizabeth Steltenpole. Joshua David Stiff. Evan Christopher Stovall. Michelle Lynn Sudano. Alexandra Lee Yonju Sir. Lauren Sutphin. Lee Evan Tankle. Jared Otis Taylor III. Patrick Taylor. Jean-Paul Benedict Thoreau. Stephen Vincent Torok. Matthew Alexander Turturro. Rebecca Lorraine Vanderlap. Amelia Irene Vance. Johannes Lucian Romandel. Tessa Marie Vincent. Demian Hieronymus Christoph Fryer von Polnitz. Gabriel Alexander Walker. Melanie Rose Walter. Yu Ying Wang. Catherine Elizabeth Ward. Emily Alexandra Whitehurst. Jason Clarence Williams.
That name.
Andrew J. Wolf. Letitia Celeste Woodford. Ashley Nicole Wright. Mary Elizabeth Wolf. Rachel Elizabeth Yount. Tenya Zhang.
And let's give a final round of applause to the class of Class of 2013, let me take a few final minutes to add my own congratulations to you on your success. You really are an enormously accomplished and talented group of students who are already very engaged with the world in so many different ways, and we look forward to seeing how your lives unfold. With your law degree, it will be followed this summer with your law license. There you go, all right. You will enjoy a special status in American society. And in the spirit of our founders, Thomas Jefferson and George Wythe, I hope that you will use that special status well, not just in the service of yourselves, but in service of the greater good. I have a particular fondness for this class. As I've come to know you over the past 3 years, I do see a powerful commitment that's been exercised at the legal clinics, it's been exercised in pro bono work, it's been exercised inside and outside the law school in you. I was thinking back this weekend when I addressed you in August of 2010 on your very first day of law school over in Colonial Williamsburg. And I pulled out what I said that day in part. I made a couple of predictions about your class, and so I'm going to renew those predictions here today. I believe that one member of your class will someday serve as a governor or a member of Congress. Several of you will be judges, either at the federal or state level. A number of you will serve in the state legislature or as mayors, as a number of recent graduates have done already, including Chris Ray, who we recognize today. Some of you will enter the intelligence service or join the foreign service, as also many of our recent graduates have done. A number of you already have and will continue to serve with distinction in the armed forces. One member of this class, I think, is going to start a nonprofit organization, sort of like what Judy Conti did 6 years after she graduated, that provides legal services to an underserved population. Some of you will be involved in legal reform efforts to try to change the law for the better. A number of you, I believe, will be prosecutors and work for the Department of Justice or in local Commonwealth attorneys' offices. Many of you will lead private law firms. Several of you will be managing partners of those law firms. Others will start innovative businesses that will improve the lives of all of us. But let me say this. This call to service that we talk about at this law school doesn't wait till the end of your career. It really begins now. Remember that Thomas Jefferson was just 33 years old when he wrote the Declaration of Independence, and that Martin Luther King was just 26 years old when he led the Montgomery bus boycott. And Wendy Kopp was just 23 years old when she founded Teach for America, that many of you have worked in before you came to law school. In whatever form it takes, I hope that you'll use the gifts that you learned here in law school to fulfill the vision articulated by Jefferson and Wythe more than 2 centuries ago, that you have been educated to take leadership in the public and private affairs of the country. So use your talents well. But as you go forth, I want to leave you with one thought that I like to leave with every graduating class. In 1776, Thomas Jefferson, in writing one of the most extraordinary documents in American history, reminded us that among the 3 inalienable rights that we all enjoy are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, if you think about it, that's an interesting phrase, the pursuit of happiness, because in all of the standard phraseologies of our fundamental rights, it always goes life, liberty, and property. Jefferson had a different phraseology, this notion of the pursuit of happiness. Now, what did he mean by that? I don't think Jefferson meant the pursuit of happiness is a great afternoon at a ball game, though I suppose he might have thought that was a good thing. Rather, this 18th century phrase, the pursuit of happiness, is best translated in 21st century words as the pursuit of meaning. The pursuit of meaning. Jefferson says we all have an inalienable right to pursue meaning in our lives. And my hope for each one of you is that in your personal lives, but also in your professional lives, you will pursue meaning. First, I hope you'll find meaning in your work as lawyers. And I promise you that if you use your legal gifts for the greater good, you will find meaning in your professional lives. But if your life is lived only in the law, you may miss a bit of what Jefferson was calling you to. Before the class of 2013 came to law school, some of you were poets or writers or musicians. I've heard some of you sing. La Capella, we're going to miss you. You were active in your churches and synagogues and mosques. You explored the wonders of the out-of-doors. You cherished your time with friends and your family, celebrating the joyous occasions that life brings and offering consolation in times of loss and sorrow. Don't lose sight of those parts of yourself. So go and pursue the call of Jefferson and Wythe to pursue the greater good as citizen lawyers, but also pursue Jefferson's call to pursue happiness. I wish each one of you well, but the good news is this: today is not a farewell. All of us here at the law school, faculty, staff, administrators, we will all follow your lives and your careers with great interest, so stay in touch. You joined the William and Mary family when you arrived here in August of 2010, and those ties will never be broken. We now approach the conclusion of the law school's 2013 commencement ceremony. In a few minutes, we will exit these grounds. Student Bar Association, Lee Tankel, led the class of 2013 into these graduation ceremonies by carrying the Golden Mace. We now pass the mace on to the next year's Student Bar Association President, Sean Radomski, symbolizing that the great class of 2013 has passed the torch. It's now that 2014 is top dog in the law school. Sean, if you will come forward with Lee Tankle and lead us in recess. And as we conclude, I want to invite all the graduates and all the families and friends, please join us back at the law school for a reception. There are going to be more than 1,000 of you, so if you'll go sort of back into the building, out on the patio, back to the student lounge, it's really a great occasion. It's a great chance for us all to congratulate our graduates and also the families. So thank you very much. And let us recess.
How are you?